Every man thinks he's a great poker player, like it's a genetic skill passed down with cholesterol and male pattern baldness. "I'm average at poker," said no man ever. Men treat poker like it's a sacred rite of passage. It's fire, the wheel, and knowing when to bluff after 3 beers. And every man has a tell. The problem is, it's the same tell. They all start breathing like Darth Vader with asthma. No, I'm calm, totally calm. Meanwhile, their face is twitching like they're trying to Morse code the word fold. So, why do men think they're good? Poker taps into every male delusion at once. The illusion of control. Men think skill dominates luck. They believe eyebrow twitches are bending destiny. Selective memory. The one big win in 2007 becomes legend. The hundreds of slow bleeds vanish like expired gym memberships. Overconfidence bias. Men rate themselves above average at everything. Driving, grilling, sex, poker. Statistically impossible. And bad beat therapy. A man will forget his wife's birthday but remember exactly how Gary hit a miracle queen on the river in 2013. That's why every guy thinks he's a genius. They mistake remembering wins for having skill. And winning, even a small hand, feels cosmic. He's stacking $3 in chips like he just toppled Rome. Poker is the only place a man with 2 kids, a mortgage, and bad knees can suddenly feel like Caesar for 30 seconds. Which leads to why are most men bad at poker or mediocre at best? Play with friends, nobody's good, yet somehow everyone's the best. Their strategy is hoping the other guy is drunker than they are. They sit there stroking their chins like they're analyzing global markets. Relax, Warren Buffett. You're debating whether to chase a pair of 3s. Men love pretending poker is math. Here's the brutal truth. Pros don't win because they're lucky or because they spotted a nervous eye twitch. They win because they treat poker like a science project wrapped in spreadsheets, mathematics and probability. Pros know pot odds, expected value, and when folding is actually profitable. Amateurs think folding is weakness. No, it's rent money. Strategy, tight aggressive play, position, bankroll management. It's not glamorous, but it works. Discipline, folding 80% of hands, even when you're bored out of your skull. Poker isn't fireworks, it's competitive waiting. And the dual approach. Some pros lean heavily on math, some on psychology, but the best combine both, robots with soul. The 3 proven strategies that can instantly improve your game. First is tight aggressive play. This is the bread and butter of real poker players. You don't play every hand, you're picky, you fold more than a laundromat, but when you do play, you go in swinging, big bets, big raises. It's like the friend who never talks at parties. Until he gets drunk enough to grab the karaoke mic, suddenly he's belting Bon Jovi like it's Madison Square Garden. Amateurs, they're the opposite. They're loose passive, playing every hand, calling every bet. That's not poker, that's donating. It's philanthropy for the casino. The second is taking advantage when you have good position. This is poker's biggest cheat code. The later your turn in a hand, the more info you have. Going last is like taking a test after seeing everyone else's answers. You're first to act with 0 information. It's like being the first guy about to jump off a cliff into the ocean when you don't know if the water's deep enough or if you're about to audition for a back brace. Late position, you get to watch everyone else panic first. It's power, it's knowledge, it's gossip with money attached. Pros live for position. Amateurs, they don't even know it exists. They think cards are cards. No, Steve, position is the difference between winning $500 and getting steamrolled by Aunt Linda with a pair of 6s. Third is bankroll management. This is where amateurs die. A pro treats their money like it's oxygen. If they run out, they're dead. They set limits. They stick to buy-ins. They treat it like running a business. Amateurs, they treat their bankroll like a drunk guy treats an Uber tab. Hey, I'll just reload. That's why pros live to fight another day, and amateurs go home explaining to their wives why the credit card got declined at Olive Garden. Poker isn't just numbers, it's also psychology, which separates the men from the boys. Psychology involves reading players. The problem for amateurs is real tells aren't Hollywood eye twitches. Instead, they're patterns. Betting rhythms, timing, chip handling. Not he blinked. More like him, he always bets fast when bluffing. Pros use psychological warfare. They weaponize posture, table talk, even fake hesitation. They build false narratives. Meanwhile, your buddy Greg thinks smirking is a strategy. Weaponized posture means using the way you sit, stand, or hold yourself as a deliberate psychological tactic. basically turning body language into a weapon. At a poker table, for example, leaning back, arms loose, projecting supreme confidence even if you've got garbage cards. Suddenly sitting upright, making it look like you just got a monster hand, baiting others to fold. Stillness versus movement. Some pros go completely still to give nothing away. Others exaggerate tiny movements to throw off opponents. Small talk isn't small talk. Pros don't just play the cards, they play you. They turn small talk into a weapon. Watch how they do it. First, fishing for information. They'll throw out harmless little questions mid-hand. Big hand, or you look nervous, you okay over there? They don't care what you say. They're watching how you say it. A stammer, a laugh, even being too smooth. That's the tell they're looking for. Next, reverse psychology, and if they've got the nuts, they'll act casual. And go on, don't be scared, call me. And if they're bluffing or said, they'll mutter, like, I probably shouldn't have bet that much. Hoping your ego can't resist. Then, controlling the mood. Pros set the table tone like DJs. Keep things light, crack jokes, make everyone relax, or then crush you when your guard's down, or suddenly go stone silent in a big pot because silence hits louder than smack talk. Finally, ego hooks. This is the Jedi mind trick. Compliment a bad fold. Good lay down, smart play. Suddenly the guy feels like a genius. And next hand, his overconfidence donates chips. Or drop a subtle jab. Really? You're folding that? Now he'll call just to prove you wrong, even if it's the dumbest call of his life. That's the real game. The cards are just props. The conversation. That's where pros print money. Fake hesitation is when a poker player acts like they're uncertain about what to do. But really, they already know exactly what they're doing. It's a performance designed to manipulate how others perceive their hand. Here's how it plays out. The slow count. They take forever stacking chips, sighing, looking at their cards again, as if they're struggling. Then they go all in. The hesitation was bait to make opponents think he's weak. I've got him. The fake struggle. They might say things like, I don't know if I should call this for us. While holding pocket aces, they want you to think they're nervous, so you underestimate them. Reverse bluff. Sometimes they'll pretend to hesitate before folding quickly just to plant a pattern in your head, so next time they hesitate, you assume they're folding again. Every bet at the table is like a chapter: raise, call, check, and ideally it adds up to a story that convinces opponents you've got a certain kind of hand. Pros weaponize this by creating a believable but fake storyline, the strong hand that doesn't exist. They raise pre-flop like they've got pocket kings, keep betting strong on the flop and turn, then shove the river. They never had the kings, but their bets told that exact story. The weak hand that's actually a monster, they check and call like they're on the ropes, then suddenly explode with a raise when the board completes. Opponents think they're desperate, but really they slow played the hand. Consistency is key. The whole trick is to make your actions line up in a way that, that feels like a hand everyone's seen before, even though it's a lie. That's why pros say you're not playing your cards, you're playing the story. Why winning feels so good. The dopamine hit tricks you into thinking you're chosen, like the universe personally tapped you for that $18 pot. That's why poker addiction is sticky. It feels cosmic. The rush, winning a hand, is a tiny life victory in an otherwise predictable cycle of marriage, commutes, and lawn care. The reality: pros don't chase adrenaline. They grind. Spreadsheets, hand reviews, 10-hour sessions. They're not cowboys. They're accountants who never smile. The contrast: amateurs play for the rush. Pros play for ROI. What do pros do that amateurs don't? Pros bluff selectively, not bluffing every hand, but choosing the right spots. Bluff less often, but make it count. Amateurs chase losses. They lose one hand and immediately reload to get even. Pros never do that. Pros set limits, track every buy-in, and walk away when the math says walk away. That's why pros keep their lights on while amateurs go home telling their kids the family vacation just turned into a staycation. Pros study hands, they review plays and track mistakes. Amateurs review nothing except their bar tab. Pros are a masterclass in patience, folding for hours until the right spot comes. Amateurs need action. Pros need profit. Pros bet strategically. Amateurs don't. Amateurs too often do what's called loose passive betting. Loose passive betting, playing tons of hands but barely raising. You're simply calling bets and chasing every draw. This leaks chips like a broken ATM. Pros, on the other hand, bet strategically. One approach is tight aggressive betting. This is playing fewer hands, but when you do, play them aggressively with raises and re-raises. This strategy conserves chips, maximizes value on strong hands, and pressures weaker players. Next is loose aggressive better strategy. This is playing lots of hands aggressively, bluffing more often, and keeping constant pressure on the table. The result is you're hard to read, you tilt opponents. The key is you need good skill to pull it off. Pros are masters at exploiting biases. They know how men self-destruct. First, there's the face card obsession. Show a man a jack and a queen, and suddenly he thinks he's royalty. I can't fold this, it's a picture card. Yeah, congratulations, you've got a prom photo, and you're still gonna lose. Then there's the pair problem. Men hate folding pairs. Pocket twos. Suddenly they're convinced destiny itself dealt them greatness. They'll go broke defending those twos like it's the Alamo. And of course, the ego call. Nothing empties wallets faster than male pride. A guy knows he's beat, but he can't let you win. He'll throw in chips just to prove he's not scared, and the pro across the table is already mentally paying his rent. That's the whole trick. Pros don't need magic. They just let men trip over their own psychology, then quietly scoop up the money. Let's not forget the Hollywood lie. Pop culture has convinced men poker is about swagger. From James Bond sipping martinis to Matt Damon in Rounders, the fantasy is clear. Charisma beats math. Reality check, Bond would get eaten alive at a Vegas cash table. You can't eyebrow raise your way out of bad pot odds, and that's why men love poker, even when they're terrible. It scratches the itch. Competition, storytelling, the fantasy of being the smartest guy in the room. All that brings us to the poker punchline. Poker's the perfect male fantasy. You can be reckless, delusional, completely wrong, and still walk away saying, honestly, I played it perfectly. Nobody leaves saying, I got lucky. They leave saying, I knew it, I am different. No, you're not different. You're just a guy who spent 15 minutes debating a $2 raise. The same guy who signed off on a $75,000 car loan in under 30 seconds. And that's poker. The one place where men treat pennies like plutoniums and still convince themselves they're kings.